Professor Pete. We're back for game design, and I wanted to cover how to design your levels using the top-down technique. Top-down technique is something like this in terms of workflow. You just need to sketch out in terms of where your character starts and spawns and where your character can go in terms of possibilities and some of the different aspects you'll need to cover. So some of the things that you want to think about is the pathways, also as well height between underground, ground level, and possibly multiple levels. The distancing between objects, structures, buildings. A focal point, maybe you want to create a giant tower so that way you, the character, will know in relationship where things are. A choke point, and that's where you can draw the character into a certain area after, exhausting all the possible options. Think about non-player characters, where those characters could be in relationship to the buildings. Certain objectives, something that happens in relationship to something after the player gets to a certain point, and then cinematics that could appear at these different times. So let's go back and have a look. Now, the big thing about doing this by hand and drawing it out is that it's a lot faster than trying to play around with Illustrator. I'm going to show you some examples where you can use digital tools to make and refine your game map levels, but generally speaking, you really shouldn't spend a lot of time in Illustrator or in Photoshop. So here you can see the flow, so where you can have certain acronyms, A, B, C, NPCs, for example, and then the flow chart in terms of where the characters are in relationship to different buildings. Here's another one what's a little more detailed. You can see where the character starts, let's say the CT at the very bottom, and then where the character can go, and then where we can see the character maybe can run into different non-players in this instance. Furthermore, if you have more detail, so here you have a tanker ship on the right hand side, and then you have the flow and different obstacles and different models that you may consider to put into your level. Now, these are really quick sketches to showcase how you're thinking and where you'll create assets and where those assets should be. So as we get into more detail, here's an example where the player starts and where the player could go in the different spots. Again, it's a top-down view, and I like the flashy illustration, but not necessary. Here's another example, okay, in terms of where the characters can go and where they should see different aspects. And here's another one, a little more detailed. You see where the map has an underground section, the road section, and then also uses, let's say, a heat map to determine the high and low in terms of the elevation of the different buildings or different structures. Going into detail in terms of the focal point, it's really simple to just think tall. So here we have in the game Elder Scroll, we have the white gold tower, and it's really captivating. Think about Dubai and think about Burj Khalifa as you're driving around and navigating through Dubai. You may also see the Burj Khalifa, and you can sense where you are in relationship to the Burj. So that's that. I really wanted to cover in terms of top level design using just simple sketches to lay out where objects will be, where you plan to have maybe some non-player characters, some animation, and maybe even point in some cinematics at different moments. These are all little things that make a huge difference in terms of designing it. I would advise you, do not design it in Unreal. It just takes too much time. So to lay it out first in simple sketches, do multiple iterations until you're totally satisfied, and then just putting it together in Unreal will save you a lot of time, and that will make things a lot more efficient and effective. So that's it. Professor Pete out. Keep learning. I'll see you next one.